Welcome back. It is Thursday, April 20th in the MLB. Our three favorite picks are on the way. I'm Austin, joined by Logan. You know who we are. But if you don't, that is who he is. And we are going to get into our three favorite picks of the day. But first off, Logan, we got to recap yesterday. Solid 2-in-1 day. Hey, we'll take that. The Guardians and Tigers, no one for sitting. Sweat-free. We'll take that. Brewers and Mariners, under 8.5. Not sweat-free, but we will still take that. And then the Rangers and Royals, the under 9 did not hit there. But we'll still take a 2-in-1 day. We won't complain about that. And you know what? If that wasn't good enough, our parlay of the day hit as well. We've hit 3 of our last 4. If you're missing out and you haven't been checking out the parlays of the day, they're on Dimers. All you got to do is go to the top link in the description, 100% free. You don't have to pay for the parlays. You can check it out. We got 3 players to get a hit today. That's what we did yesterday, and it's smacked, and hopefully we can do it again today. Top link in the description. Just go check it out. You won't want to miss out on that. Now, we do have a great offer, and it's going to be for the people in Ontario. So if you want to check it out, if you're maybe in Ontario, look, PointsBet now live in your area. If you want to claim the offer, click the link at the top of the description right underneath that parlay of the day article, and you can sign up. Of course, that's only for people in Ontario, Canada. But Logan, it is going to be a good day. I'm feeling the good vibes all around. And we're going to let you lead it off with the pick that I imagine a lot of people do not like today.
Yeah, in typical fashion, I'm fading the public, right? That's all I do around here. But I'm going to the Rockies versus Phillies game, and I'm taking the Rockies plus 1.5 on the run line. Currently plus 102 odds on FanDuel is your best value in this one. Now, guys, look, on a limited slate, this is a smaller slate. You got to do some line reading. You got to do some where are the squares going to get trapped kind of thing. Because normally, people that construct these fun baseball parlays, there's always a leg to go wrong. I don't need to tell you guys this. You just keep betting the square money line favorites, and it rarely ever works out in baseball. And I could see the Phillies letting a lot of people down today. There's a huge pitcher discrepancy on paper, but I don't think the Rockies are that much worse than the Phillies. I know the narrative's always, oh, the Rockies away from Coors Field, they play so bad on the road. They do, right? That's without a doubt. But the run line just isn't juiced to the fact of me saying, wow, I think the books are still making it reasonable for people to pick Phillies money or Phillies on the run line. And that's why I'm saying not so fast. I think there's also an overreaction to how Colorado got swept at home by the Pirates, right? They lost 2 out of the 3 games in just absolute lopsided blowout fashion. I think this is actually a sneaky bounce back spot for the Rockies today because you know what? They can't play much worse than they did against the Pirates. They're facing Matt Strahm today. Strahm, 2.13 ERA, 0.95 whip this season. Pretty solid numbers. But, I don't know how long Strahm's going to go into this game. He's mostly like a bullpen type arm. And if they want to go with a bullpen game, by all means, right? Like, I would love that today. But walks got to Strahm in his last outing. He only went 2 2/3 innings pitched, allowed 3 earned runs and 3 walks. I mean, the numbers might not show it, but I mean, he's a little bit of an erratic pitcher, right? 3 walks, 3 earned runs. I think the Rockies, especially the way they've been hitting lefties, can definitely get Matt Strahm today. Rockies hitting 261 versus left-handed pitchers. That's 12th in the majors. I don't see any reason why they couldn't get some hits on him for sure. Rockies 11th in hits, 25th in runs. I expect the runs to catch up to the hits today, right? We've seen it so many times in baseball. If you're just getting the hits, you're just putting the runners on base. Eventually, the runs do come. And I think we could see that with the Rockies today. I mean, they're a streaky offense. They play a Coors Field. But that's not to say they couldn't get some hits and runs up on him today. Now, who start for the Rockies today? Not my favorite pitcher, the fact. Won't lie to you. Ryan Feltner, right? I'm not going to sugarcoat it. 8.78 ERA, 1.95 whip is not good. Those numbers are not good at all. But sometimes when you're betting baseball, you have to trust the line, and you have to know he's an MLB pitcher capable of putting up a respectable showing. All the time, guys, I peddle the narrative of, even these pitchers with bad ERAs can go out and put up decent starts. I mean, it's what they do. They're professional athletes. You can't just see a guy that sucks and assume he's going to suck in perpetuity, right? Unless he's just so, unbackable. But I don't think Ryan Feltner's that, right? Walks have been a problem for him, right? That's definitely not disputable. But the good news is Philadelphia isn't a plate discipline team. Take it from me. I live in Philly. I watched enough of the Phillies. I know the Phillies 28th in strikeouts, 22nd in walks drawn. They have a really hard time of not swinging at those uncompetitive pitches. And I think, if Feltner's putting a few dirt balls, hey, man, Castellanos ain't seen a ball he didn't want to swing at. So I'm just saying I think there's some strikeout opportunities for Feltner, who's actually had some decent games with strikeouts. The difference in bullpen ERA, Phillies 27th in bullpen ERA, Rockies 22nd in bullpen ERA. That might not seem big on paper, right, with those rankings, but statistically it is. Phillies rocking a 6.04 ERA in the bullpen compared to the Rockies 4.56 ERA. Now, why am I bringing that up? Well, we know how the cover run works, right? If you bet baseball long enough, you know that in the bullpen, that's when the back door is left wide open. You thought you had a winner, and all of a sudden the bullpen comes in and gives up 2 or 3 runs, and you're like, wow, my run line minus 1.5 bets no longer winning. I've done it enough, especially on the home team. We saw that with the Cardinals, this past weekend. They win by 1 in walk-off fashion. When you're betting the plus 1.5 run line, there's multiple pathways to victory. Rockies could win outright, or they could just, have a competitive game where they do lose by 1 and the Phillies walk it off. I've seen it all too much. So I do see a lot of value on the Rockies on the run line today. I'm getting plus money on it. I'll go ahead and take a shot on it. Now, another underdog that I do see value with today, not my official pick, but I know you guys like playing money lines with value. Reds also, I think they have a really good shot at beating the Pirates today, because there's no way the Pirates should be minus 150 on the money line. Look, that's just such an overreaction, inflated line of what they did in Coors Field. The Pirates are going to come down hard, and I think it could easily be a Reds money line victory today. But that's just my thoughts. Austin, you got a player prop for us finally today. What do you got for us?
Yeah, I got a good play for the people, but you are correct. The Reds Pirates being a big favorite, that is a system play to fade that. But we won't take we're not that far into the season yet. We're betting Reds money line. But either way, I do have a player prop for the people. We're going to dive right into that real quick. Now, this is going to be one, and I know we'll get a lot of questions about this one. So before I dive into it, I want to say I'll provide a couple pivots right after I put it on the screen, and it's going to be this guy, and it's going to be Cody Bellinger of the Chicago Cubs, taking his over 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs minus 120 on DraftKings. Now, before you go down below in the comments, FanDuel, if that's your only book, they don't have this prop. But as I've said before, time and time again, I don't like FanDuel for baseball. Not only do they rule guys, if they maybe pinch it at the end of the game, they'll rule that as a loss for you, but also they don't have unders for bases. Now, I haven't taken a lot of under for bases props, but the fact that FanDuel doesn't even offer them, pretty good indicator that sometimes base props unders are probably the way to go. But if you need a pivot and you're on FanDuel, I like Cody Bellinger and Ian Happ each to record a hit. It's obviously, there's a chance that hits and mine doesn't. There's also a chance that my bet hits and that doesn't, but that's definitely a good pivot. And people like PrizePicks, Underdog Fantasies, the No House Advantages of the world, those daily fantasy apps should have this line eventually. And also you should see PointsBet and BetMGM also get this line eventually as well. It's just sometimes the books are a little bit sleepy waking up, but they should post this line on a couple different books besides just DraftKings. But let's talk about why exactly I like Bellinger. Now, look, I like this prop because there's a couple different reasons why, the couple different ways he can cash. We saw when we took a Ryan Mountcastle over 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs. He didn't even have a hit before he cashed. He had a sac fly, and he had a fielder's choice where he got on base, ended up scoring a run. He stole a base and scored. He ended up getting a hit in that game and easily cashed him. But still, Bellinger, he's been pretty solid this year, batting .284 with 3 homers, second on his team, and 12 RBIs, which I believe is third on the team. Now, we've also looked at Bellinger, has left 11 runners in scoring position. That's not great, tied for 9th most in the MLB, but there's room for growth. Obviously, he's getting on plate, on the up to bat, and people are on base, which is awesome for him. And then if he just gets one hit, he could get an RBI, and boom, we can cash it there. But we see the over-under in this game. We're sitting at 11. The wind appears to be blowing out of Wrigley Field. You don't set an over-under in Wrigley at 11, and the game end up with 1 or 2 runs scored. So I think they're expecting some runs scored, and he could certainly get it done against Michael Grove, who's going to start for the Dodgers. Now, he's 1 for 2 lifetime versus Grove. I believe they matched up just a couple weeks ago. I think that was Grove's last start was against the Cubs. So he went 1 for 2. That's not too bad. But we've also seen Bellinger. He's typically going to bat in that 4 or 5 slot. He's been recently in the 5 slot when Suzuki's back. But in front of him, you got guys like Herner. You got Swanson. You got Happ. All these guys are great guys at getting on base and just putting themselves in scoring position. And then Bellinger comes up, and all we would potentially need is a hit. But you also think about Bellinger. He could get a home run. That's an easy way to get it done. He could get a sac fly or something like that. There's so many different ways that this could easily cash. And we've seen Bellinger. Last 14 games, he kind of started off the year pretty slow. Last 14 games hitting .339. He's hit this over 2+ hits plus runs plus RBIs in 11 of his last 14 games. And so I certainly think he's capable of getting it done. Like I said, this over-under is at 11. This should not be minus 120 in my opinion. If it gets more past like minus 135 or minus 140, I'd probably punt on it and not take it. But the fact he's going to bat in a position where he likely gets players on base, or he's going to bat at the leadoff in his next inning and maybe gets on base, maybe gets hit around and scores a run. I think there's a lot of different outcomes here. He could also hit a home run here. He has 3 of those on the year. So my favorite pick, it's going to be Cody Bellinger, taking us over 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs, and hopefully we can get these player props back going and moving and grooving. But Logan, I reckon you know what time it is. I will get the music going for the people out there, and when it's coming to NRFI Nation time, we need to wave the flags. I honestly don't know where my flag went. I had it. I'll find it eventually when you're talking so we can wave it at the end. But I like the one that we got today. And honestly, like Logan said at the top of the show, it's a limited slate, so not a great NRFI slate, but we got one for plus value that I think stands a chance at hitting. And ours is going to be the Reds and Pirates, no run first inning. And you're currently getting that at plus 102 value on FanDuel. Now, when you look at this one, and as a reminder, no run first inning, you just take the under 0.5 runs in the first inning. If you also want to take a tie, maybe a tie has a chance at hitting today in case both these two pitchers implode. Maybe you get 1-1, 2-2 type game. But let's talk about Roansy Contreras, and he's going to start for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Now, Contreras, I'm old enough to remember when he was one of the best no-run first inning pitchers last year. I think he was like 13-0. He was really, really good. I think towards the end of the year, he gave up a Yerfy or two. This year's season, he's been, as Logan says, he's been an enemy of NRFI Nation. He's 0-3 so far. And like, I think he's due one. He had to face the tough gauntlet of the Cardinals, the Astros, and the Red Sox, three teams that are at the top of the league in terms of scoring in the first inning. And you look at the Reds, sure, they're up there. They're 11th in first inning runs, but this is a Reds team that's been shut out in 2 straight, haven't scored in the first inning in 6 straight games. And so I think Contreras, he has decent stuff. It's been a bad start to the year, but we saw what he was capable of last year, getting us easily 3 outs. He was a guy we trusted a lot. So I think he can do his job. But Logan, who's on the other side for us?
Yeah, we've got Luke Weaver starting for the Reds. Weaver's making his first start of the season, but at the end of the day, I do trust him to be able to get those 3 outs. Look, the Pirates are tied for 21st in first inning runs. I'm expecting some regression for those Pittsburgh bats returning home after a series in Coors Field. We've seen it. It's such a narrative in baseball, and I'm really interested. I'm interested to see picking in this no-run first inning if my theory is true of like, yes, the Pittsburgh offense was just absolutely humming in Colorado. But when you return home, different hitting environment for sure. Are the bats a little bit slow to wake up? I do believe they are going to be, and I think we stand a really good chance of cashing this no-run first inning. Look, these two teams were a staple of our NRFIs last year. When they would play each other, we took Reds, Pirates, NRFIs all the time, especially because they're divisional opponents. So, I mean, the over-under is set a little bit high to 9, but there's a reason why it's plus value. Look, our first plus value stab NRFI of the year. I love it for value. NRFI Nation.
Let's wave these flags. That's all we're asking for. Like I said, it's not the greatest slate, so if you want to punt on the no one for sync, hey, we're fine with that. Those are our 3 favorite plays of the day. A reminder, our parlay of the day, top link in the description. We're going for back-to-back 4 of our last 5. So go check it out. Show Dimer some love. We like to write them up early in the morning. It's already live, so go check it out. Top link in the description. That Ontario, Canada PointsBet offer also there. But let's have a great day, Logan. Let's go 3-0. We'll be back again tomorrow for some more picks. We'll see you guys then. Peace out.